Welcome to Creating from the Heart, the Artistry of Living. I'm Susie Vance, and I'm here with Kate Oelerich.
Hi.
How are you, Kate?
I'm great, thank you.
And we have your wonderful dog down here,
Al, you're being a good boy.
So, Kate.
Yes.
You have been taking pictures forever.
Well, yeah, I have.
When did you start?
Well, it's funny. I always took pictures. I guess my mother had a Brownie Hawkeye, and I always had, point and shoot cameras. I shot things all through college, so I have the.
You want to sit with Al? Okay. Al, there you go.
Oh, Al, he wants to be in the show too, okay. And he. And I have all the albums from college, which is fun. And so I always took pictures. And then in the early 70s or like the middle 70s, John gave me a manual camera for Christmas, which I thought was so nice. And I was like, well, if I don't go take a class, I'm going to have no idea how to ever use this, and I won't use it. So I started taking classes, and I took a general photography class and darkroom, and it was so much fun. And when I got to the portrait part, I was like, I really like to do this. So then I started taking portrait classes. And I had a wonderful mentor, John Riley, and he always said, Kate, you could have a business. And I went, business? I've got 2 little kids. I've got, so many other things going on. And I never, ever envisioned having any kind of a photography business. But I would.
And then what happened?
Yeah, well, yeah. Then, but for my assignments, I would use my babysitters for the window light or outside or studio lights or whatever we were doing, and as a gift, I would give them, an 8x10 of that, and all of a sudden they started coming to me and saying, well, my father wants one of those for his office, and so-and-so wants them. And at that point, I realized it was going to be too expensive of a hobby.
And so the universe isn't going to let you get away with not sharing your talents.
Yeah. So it was, it was absolutely, I fell into it. I had no foresight. I didn't have any business plan. I had nothing.
But when you were younger, you loved it.
I always liked taking pictures.
Camera.
Yeah, I always liked taking pictures.
And what did you like about taking the pictures? Did you like actually the click of the camera, or did you like your subject, or what made you curious about taking pictures?
That's interesting. I haven't really thought about it from that standpoint, Susie. So that's a good one. I think, there was something about looking through a pinhole or whatever, the viewer in a camera, and isolating
the moment.
Yeah, and of course I didn't have a camera that had telephoto or anything, so it forced me to look for angles and things that were interesting. Now, I had wonderful classes that I took, and I joined the Professional Photographers of America, and I would go to these conventions, and I would see all these things and
That's quite a bit for somebody who didn't really think they were going to.
Yeah. Well, I realized that. And you know what? The people part of it was great. I mean, I love chatting with people. I have no problem with that. And it's interesting because many portrait photographers, they want to do an individual or they want to do a couple, and they want to have it, sort of this intimate time.
Right.
Where and it is a very intimate business, that's for sure. I mean, you've got to figure out all these personalities or else.
I was just going to say.
Nothing's come together.
I was a lawyer and did husbands, wives, and children and employers and employees, and you did the same thing with your camera.
Yeah. And
you captured them.
Well, except, the people who came to you had to come to you. The people who came to me, the mother was the only one who wanted to come. So, I always said that every family's most dysfunctional day was family portrait day, because the only person who wants to be there is the mom, and the dad, would rather be on the golf course or any place. The kids want to go hang out. At least I wasn't dealing with social media at the time, so I didn't have to worry about. But now, they walk in and I go, okay, take the phones out of the pocket. I say, it's okay. It's only going to be for a little bit. You'll still be able to contact your people. And so it's a whole different world. But I think, I am a pretty outgoing personality, or I have one, I should say. And so I think it got to be for me, how am I going to take these random people whom I don't know?
Right.
And
But you get some insight pretty quick.
and we'll make them look like they want to be there and they like each other and they're having fun. Those were my goals. So when you think about it, those are pretty lofty goals.
And they are.
Yeah, I
And
know.
they may be life-changing for the people who are in the picture.
Oh, it's absolutely true. And I've gotten very close to my clients. And well, I've been doing this for, let's see, 44 years, 45 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's quite a journey for somebody who didn't really think they were ever going to do this.
You know, you're absolutely right. And it's interesting because the portrait part was the stuff I really liked. But I mean, I wasn't going to get into the sports photography. And each of those disciplines in photography is so specific.
Yeah.
The still lifes, the landscapes, the portraits, the sports.
The churches.
The church, well, but that's my second calling here. But the people part, when you say bring on, I'm like, and they go, oh, we have a really big family. I go, how many? And they said, well, we've got 4 kids. And I went, oh, that's nothing. I meant, I'm dealing with those Irish Catholic families who have, that just keep growing and growing and growing. So.
What's the largest group you've ever done?
You mean as far
Numbers.
as a family?
Yeah.
Oh, 40.
Size. That's what I was going to
Yeah.
say.
But I mean, I've done some commercial work where I've done companies and things like that where.
You still do that?
No, I don't. And my portrait business is, much slower than it ever was before, which is just fine. I don't need to be schlepping cameras all around. But there's something, even I would know if I would say, oh, I have to do that family today. And there was like, oh, and just walking into that scene, wherever it is, and getting behind the camera, it's all of a sudden the light goes on. And it just puts you in a whole different mindset. And
describe it.
well, as I say, let's say we have these 6 people, and mom's the only one who wants to be there. They're wearing clothes they don't want to wear. They're, wasting time with me, and I've got to make it so they
have fun.
Yeah, and I say to them, this is not supposed to be like you're going to the dentist. We are here to have a good time. And, invariably you'd have to have the sister and brother who had just had a knockdown fight sitting next to each other, and I go, you know what? It's all smoke and mirrors. We're just pretending that we like each other. We don't have to like each other. And I would say this to people, and they'd say, okay, that works. Or the 6-year-old or 4-year-old little, child who was obviously groping for negative attention and was whining and being, uncomfortable in the situation. And I would say, Tommy, come here, let's go talk for a minute. Now, there might be 15 other people in his family that are sitting there waiting for Tommy, but if I can't get Tommy to enjoy what we're doing and look like he's not ready to run out of the room, then that's going to make it horrible for the other 14 people. So Tommy and I would talk, and I'd say, you don't want to be here, do you? I said, okay, if you do what I tell you to do, I'll get you out of here as soon as possible. He goes, okay. I said, now show me that smile. Let me see it. And he goes, okay. I said, okay, go back. Now the parents are looking at me like saying, what the heck did you do to that kid?
How'd you do that?
Well, I know. Well, I have, my friends always say it's, photography by intimidation. I wasn't ever looking for the Miss Congeniality Award.
Right.
But I wanted to get a wonderful family,
Picture.
classic family portrait. And I mostly do outside stuff because that's what I really loved in the natural settings. We landscaped my backyard for it. We had about a 20-foot drop in our backyard, and yeah, it was fabulous.
Perfect.
Oh, it was like a little botanic garden. And we were there for many more years after our kids were gone, specifically because that was my studio. And and now I'm doing third generation families. I'm doing the kids
of the kids.
Of the kids. In fact, I was doing one a couple of weeks ago, and I had done her family, the mother's family, when she was a kid, and I said to one of the little girls, I said, I took your mother's picture when she was your age, and they're like, really? You know, so it's a very intimate, close feeling, personal, very satisfying give and take with people.
And you fell into this.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say
Yes.
to people? You know, there's so many kids, people between the ages of even 15 to, you know, whatever. Some people lose their jobs, some people whatever, but people are searching. Do you have any advice you'd give them about?
Well, it's funny. John and I, my husband, we did aptitude testing when we were, you know, young in our marriage. And one of the things that I think I scored 0 in was foresight. So I was never one who projected what was going to happen. I, you know, sort of went
with the flow.
Yeah, I went with the flow. And so it's funny when I decided to take this portrait class, and it was like a college class. It was connected through Kendall College, which was a part of Northwestern at the time. Mm-hmm. And it was all these college kids, and then there was this, you know, lady, this mother of 2, in her, you know, late 20s or whatever. But I mean, there was a considerable age difference in those days. And we went around the room, and the teacher said, you know, what are your goals? And, you know, one guy wanted to be a photojournalist, somebody wanted to be a sports photographer, someone wanted to be this, and I said, I just want to take better pictures of my friends. I literally said that. And that's sort of what
how
happened.
It got into
yeah.
you.
Mm-hmm.
So isn't it amazing how the universe lines you up to do what you fall in love with?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm very, very fortunate. It's I've gotten a wonderful gift from God. I have an eye for photography, and I have, you know, I can talk enough to get people to listen to me. Not that they want to, but, you know, I mean, I've done weddings and big groups, and I had, I was doing a wedding for a photography friend of mine, and it was at St. Pat's in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And the one picture that he wanted was from the choir loft, right at the end of the Mass, with everyone turning around looking up. That was probably the most nerve-wracking picture I've ever taken in my life, because I'm like, I have no idea if this is going to work or not. But it did. And that's sort of how I've gone into this whole thing, quite honestly.
Well, I love it, and thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
Do you, can people call you?
Oh, yes, they can.
And how would they reach you?
I have a website.
Which is?
KateOelerich.com. And about 5.5 years ago, I had some health issues, and somebody gave me a book, and it said, "What now?" Or "Now what?" One or the other. Anyway, and it was just a little pamphlet, and this guy had some illness that he had, and he said he had all the doctors, he had everything in place, except no one told him how to live his life going forward with this news, that his life might be changing. And it said to set a goal. And so I was having a minor procedure in the hospital, and of course they wake you up in the middle of the night or at the crack of dawn, which I would never be up on my own. But I looked out the window, and there was this beautiful sunrise. And I had my cell phone with me, and I took a picture, and it literally, Susie, was like the light bulb went off, and I went, oh, this is going to be my goal. And I'm going to look for pictures every day. At the time, I was sending them a blind copy email to my family, and then my friends heard about it, and they said, oh, please put me on it too. And it's just a picture that I would send every day. And then someone said to me, well, Kate, you should get an Instagram account, which I knew nothing about Instagram. And I said, okay. And so I did, and for 5.5 years, I've been posting a picture every day on Instagram and Facebook.
And she sends it to you if you sign up for her list.
Yeah. And it's been unbelievably satisfying. And it's funny because John Riley, my mentor, he would say to me, Kate, why don't you take your camera out and your phone? well, and my thing is always, the guys always are into the gear, the what camera, it's like, you know, the best car, all this stuff, and I'd say, why? My phone is doing a fine job. So I get the new iPhone every year, and I just start looking around. And my sister drives me around a couple times a week, and we go anywhere. And while I'm down here with Susie, I'm going to look around for a couple days and see what's going on. I like to try and do the churches or the temples on Sundays. So I like to find the ones, especially in towns like this, because they're all so old and historical. So
That's great.
that's sort of what I'm doing.
Well, thank you for sharing. This
Well,
has
thank
been
you.
fabulous.
Well, I appreciate it. It's been fun.
Creating from the Heart, the Artistry of Living. And if you have someone I should interview, please let me know. See you next time.
Thank you.